Fabulous. Welcome, 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 everyone. This is Tracy Una Wagner with Versatile Inspirations. Today, we're going to be discussing your spiritual business working with Mercury Retrograde. So let me screen share and we'll get started. Let's get this up. Fabulous. All righty. So what is Mercury retrograde? Well, Mercury is actually the messenger of the gods in Greek mythology. And so in astrology, Mercury, the planet, is considered the communication planet because it communicates. It helps us communicate. And so when Mercury is retrograde, when we consider it retrograde, is when the planet Mercury looks as if it's moving or orbiting in the opposite direction of other planetary bodies. So it only looks like it's going backwards. When Mercury is retrograde, we may feel as if we and or our business is moving backwards as well, or it may feel like you're just plain stuck. So things that we can do to combat that feeling or to maybe work with Mercury retrograde, it's not very long and it doesn't happen all the time. So we can actually work with it with ourselves and actually with our business. So how do we do that? Well, one of the things that I found helps tremendously is by limiting the electronics use. Now, I've had it to where, and you may hear as well, that electronics kind of act funky, which they can. I have actually had to purchase computers during Mercury retrograde because my old computer just either stopped working or whatever. It just didn't. I had to go get a new one. And the most telling one that I had is when I was driving back from town. I had gone in to purchase some things, and I was driving back, and one of those, it's on a pole. It's like for the electronics or for like the telephone poles, one of those terminal things that are up at the top. It actually exploded above my head, above my car, the top of my car, and it was the scariest thing. But there again, it was Mercury retrograde, and it was like, oh my gosh, what else can happen? So limiting your electronics use really does help not only you, your business, but it actually helps to keep your computer healthy. Take a break from social media. Because Mercury is the messenger or communications planet, and it feels like it's going backwards or looks as if it's orbiting backwards, then what we need to do is we need to limit that communication where we're not face to face, where people can get our meanings right away. We may type something and mean it in a funny way, and somebody may get mad about it. We can make a off comment about somebody or something, and it could be taken badly. So just by taking a bit of a break from social media, I don't mean all the time, because honestly, I have a business as well, and I totally get that social media is a networking place. It's where we find clients. It's where we just share our information and we get things out into the world. So taking a complete break, for most people, it's not a doable thing, but we can limit it. We can take just breaks, mini breaks, take 15 minutes off or shut down early. There's lots of different ways that we can do just to get rid of or eliminate or just take mini breaks from social media. Think about waiting to sign important agreements or documents till after the shadow phase has passed. Now, what I mean by shadow phase with Mercury retrograde is 2 weeks prior to the beginning of Mercury retrograde and 2 weeks after the end of Mercury retrograde. There's a two-week period where it's like it starts to come up, and you can feel like there's maybe some shifting going on 2 weeks prior to, and it's just kind of a builds and builds and builds. And then 2 weeks after, you're allowing that Mercury retrograde, those feelings and things to kind of die down so that everything feels like it's going back to normal. So once we get past that 2-week period, that phase, then we're able to sign the documents. Everything is clear, concise again, and so we can move forward with those, signing those documents and getting things put down on paper. Instead of calling, texting, or emailing, try face-to-face meetings. When you're face-to-face with someone, you can get the meaning or the communication that's being put forward and what you're receiving. You can get the gist of or the actual meaning of it. And if you don't, the person's right there in front of you, and you can ask, for clarification on what they said, and vice versa. When you're texting someone or emailing someone or you're calling on the phone, sometimes people can't get facial expressions, and so they don't know what you mean by some things, or vice versa. And so it's just much easier to have communication in the open, face to face. And if you can't, try Skyping, or try doing something where you're using Zoom to actually communicate with someone. It's easier to get the meaning of something when you can see the person face to face. It's a great time right now to reevaluate your business goals, dreams, wishes, and desires. Not that we're putting things into action right now. Try not to put new things into action. Right now, try to just reevaluate things. Try to figure out your next steps without putting it forward until after that 2-week period after the end of a Mercury retrograde. Once that happens, you can move forward, but this is a great time to reevaluate it. Look into what's going on. Look into see if there are some things that you may want to change up. Maybe something isn't working, or maybe you want to try something new. This is a great time to really get into get your fingers and your ideas down on paper. Think of things that you'd like to implement and you just haven't done so. It's a great time for dreaming and wishing. Go over your blogs, emails, and other forms of rewriting. Make sure that the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. Right now, we may be rushing through there again because of the communication planet feeling like it's orbiting or moving backwards. Our communication, even with writing, typing, anything, feels like it's a little off. It doesn't quite get communicated exactly how we mean it. So especially if it's a blog post or something that you need to turn in, like a homework assignment that maybe you're writing out by hand, or an agreement by hand, just if you can make sure that you go over it a couple times just to make sure you got your meaning as clear and concise as possible during this time. So make a plan to change things up after the retrograde shadow has passed. We can think and plan right now, and then after that shadow period, we can act. Doing a great way to think and plan is to do a vision board and just bring out your vision board, and if it needs revising, just go through that time. Mercury retrograde, I like to think of it almost as a time when it's almost like a new moon. We're reevaluating it's just a longer period of time. So instead of just like a couple nights for the new moon, what we have with Mercury retrograde is we have a longer period of time, about a month, with the 2 weeks before and the 2 weeks afterwards, that we can really focus on what we want to bring about in our business. We can do it with our lives as well, but because I'm talking mainly about our spiritual business and how we can work with it with Mercury retrograde, really with that, bringing out your vision board for your business and reevaluating what you have on there, it's a great time to do it. And you can put it away for a day or so and bring it back out. You've got almost a whole month to actually go over and reevaluate and just change it up if you'd like. But just wait until after that last shadow period, that last 2 weeks after Mercury retrograde is ended, to really take action on it. So what can you do during a Mercury retrograde? Some wonderful things that we can do during this time is to really keep positive thoughts, really just kind of be mindful of your headspace. Where are you at? Sometimes you can get kind of cranky during this time because everybody's taking everything the wrong way, or the information isn't coming to you clearly, or you're not putting information out clearly, and you just don't know how to just wrap your mind around what's going on. It's a feeling, and it can be very chaotic feeling at times. But if we're mindful of our feelings and we can flip that switch, raise our energy to that love state, to that forgiveness area, and just really latch on to raising our vibration, grounding into the earth, grounding into the cosmos, and just really, really being mindful of where we're at in our space, and just raising that up, we'll be able to move forward through the Mercury retrograde a lot easier. Also, journaling. Journaling helps as well. We can journal, and no one's going to be seeing that. So it's not like you're putting out a huge document or something that is going to be critiqued or evaluated or signed on. But what the journaling does is it helps us get from our headspace out, and we're able to just kind of document how we're feeling, and that way we can get it all out without having to worry what other people think, and then we can go about our business of raising our vibration. Yoga or any kind of exercise to where you're being mindful of your body, your breathing, and just being able to move yourself, move your body, and be able to maybe go in your thoughts, and just really there again, be mindful, just being mindful about where you're at and how you're acting or feeling, and being able to move through that. Yoga is a great practice, and it's not stressful on your body, and you're able to really move with it through grace. You're able to be graceful and delicate and not have to worry about lifting weights or doing something that's very physically strenuous, which could cause a little bit of an anxiety or some stress to build up. But yoga is releasing that. It's just kind of going within and just being mindful. It's great practice, especially if you're stressed from a day. Just doing meditation, just sitting and being is very helpful. I can't stress that enough. Just being able to sit and breathe, go within, and just kind of let, even if your monkey mind just kind of goes off on a tangent, at least we are being still and mindful of ourselves, and we're able to release that just by letting it be. Just be for a few minutes. It's wonderful. Turning off our cell phones maybe an hour earlier than what we do each and every night is very helpful at this time. Not only is it limiting our electronics, but you're kind of closing down that communication and being able to just kind of just be yourself. Bring out that vision board and just kind of work on that for a while, or grab your journal for a while. Just be for a little while without the distraction and without having to worry about communication and having it go awry and whatnot. Just shut down for a little while, maybe a little sooner than normal each night. Going out with friends and deep breathing. We need to go out with our friends face to face, that face to face meeting, family, friends, anyone. Try that face to face meeting. And just breathe. Just be and breathe. Breathing is very important for our life. And a lot of times we don't take the time to really take in a deep belly breath. Just putting your hand on your belly and deep breathing to the point where your belly expands. Your chest, you can do the same thing with your chest. Put your hand on your chest and just deep breathe until your chest expands, and then let all that air out. You'll be surprised at how much stress you release just by being. Wonderful. All right. So thank you for spending some time with me today. I greatly appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. As always, I'm sending you and yours love, light, and eternal blessings. Take care.